The studio lights of the chase glimmered with their usual dazzle, casting a perfect glow over the polished floors and shiny podiums. Contestants beamed, their nerves hidden behind rehearsed smiles, and the audience clapped with predictable enthusiasm. To the millions watching from home, it was another thrilling episode of high-stakes trivia, where brains battled wits in a race against time. But what no one could have anticipated was that this episode would ignite a firestorm across social media, leaving loyal fans shocked, angry, and heartbroken. The day began like any other. Contestants arrived at the studio ready to face the infamous Chaser, the nearly mythical figure whose reputation for lightning-fast recall preceded them. Among the hopefuls was Emily Carter, a quiet 27-year-old teacher from Sheffield. She had spent weeks preparing for this moment, memorizing dates, formulas, and literary quotes in the hope of finally winning a life-changing prize. Her friends and family had flown in to cheer her on, clutching banners that read, "Go Emily," and "Brains over Brawn." As the show progressed, Emily's performance was nothing short of remarkable. She breezed through the cash builder round, scoring higher than any previous contestant in her slot, and the audience erupted with applause. Social media buzzed as fans tweeted screenshots of her rapid-fire correct answers, dubbing her the Quiz Queen of Sheffield. Everything seemed poised for a heartwarming victory story. Then came the twist. The chase round, the moment when contestants faced the chaser in a nerve-wracking race, began. Emily, confident but cautious, started strong. Every correct answer widened her lead, and viewers at home leaned forward in suspense. But as the questions ticked by, a pattern began to emerge. Several of Emily's answers, which she had buzzed in with unwavering certainty, were suddenly marked wrong. A collective gasp seemed to echo through living rooms across the country. Social media exploded. #TheChaseControversy trended within minutes. Clips circulated showing Emily confidently stating that the Battle of Hastings was in 1066 and Shakespeare wrote Hamlet, only to be told she was incorrect. Fans were stunned. These were indisputable facts, yet the scoreboard stubbornly refused to budge in her favor. Back in the studio, Emily's confusion mirrored that of the audience. Her hands trembled on the podium as the host, the ever-charismatic Bradley Walsh, tried to maintain composure. "That's interesting," he said, his voice betraying the tiniest crack of uncertainty. "We'll move on to the next question." But the damage was done. The segment, which should have been a celebration of knowledge, had turned into a spectacle of injustice. Viewers quickly began dissecting the footage. Amateur sleuths on Twitter and Reddit painstakingly compared Emily's answers with reputable sources. Every analysis pointed to the same conclusion. Emily had been robbed of her rightful points. The network initially dismissed the outrage as viewer error, suggesting that perhaps the contestants had misheard questions or misclicked buzzer buttons. But as the backlash grew, it became clear that this was no ordinary glitch. Fan forums were ablaze with speculation. Some accused the show of deliberately manipulating outcomes for drama, while others demanded transparency in the scoring system. One viral tweet captured the collective sentiment perfectly. "You can't make up facts. You can't cheat knowledge. And yet Emily lost. Heartbreaking. #Justice for Emily." Meanwhile, Emily sat backstage, her heart pounding, not from nerves, but from disbelief. She replayed the questions in her head, silently begging herself to have been wrong, but every memory screamed truth. She had prepared for this moment her entire life, and in a cruel twist, fate, or perhaps the show's production, had conspired against her. Despite the controversy, Emily carried herself with grace. When the producers approached her to discuss the episode, she refused to lash out publicly. "I just want the truth to come out," she said quietly. "It's about more than me. It's about fairness." Her poise only fueled the audience's empathy. Clips of her calm, composed interviews were shared widely, drawing millions of views and further inflaming the debate. The network eventually issued a statement, acknowledging technical discrepancies but carefully avoiding admitting fault. This only intensified public outrage. Hashtags multiplied. Hashtag fix the chase. Hashtag Emily deserves better. Hashtag heartbreaking twist. Memes circulated showing Emily standing alone on the stage while the chasers smirked, with captions like, "When the universe conspires against geniuses." Even celebrities chimed in, expressing disbelief and support. The story had gone beyond a quiz show. It had become a symbol of fairness, or the lack thereof, in public entertainment. Then came the real shocker. A leaked behind-the-scenes video revealed that the scoring system had been tampered with during Emily's round, not maliciously, but due to a software glitch that misinterpreted certain types of answers. In other words, the chaser's victory, while technically legitimate in the system, was based on an error entirely outside Emily's control. The revelation sent shockwaves across social media, and fans united in a mix of outrage and relief. Emily was invited back for a special episode to retake the chase round. This time, armed with transparency and a corrective scoring system, she performed brilliantly. The tension was palpable. Viewers across the nation held their breath as she matched the chaser point for point. The final moment when Emily crossed the virtual finish line ahead of the chaser was met with a tidal wave of cheers both in the studio and online. Memes of Emily holding the trophy triumphantly replaced the heartbreak ones, and the narrative shifted from tragedy to redemption. Yet even with her victory, the episode left a lasting impact. Discussions about fairness, transparency, and the power dynamics in entertainment continued long after the cameras stopped rolling. Emily's story became a cautionary tale, reminding audiences that even in games of intellect, technology and human error can drastically alter outcomes. And it sparked a larger conversation about how shows measure success and handle mistakes in real time. In the weeks following, Emily returned to her life as a teacher, but now with a new kind of recognition. Her students hung up posters reading, "Never give up, even when the world says you're wrong." She gave talks at schools and libraries about perseverance, fairness, and standing up for yourself without losing dignity. And while she never sought fame, she accepted the responsibility of being a symbol for millions who had felt powerless watching her ordeal unfold. Meanwhile, the chase quietly updated its scoring and review systems, implementing fail-safes to prevent future controversies. Bradley Walsh, in a rare moment of seriousness, addressed viewers on a follow-up episode. "We got it wrong, and we've made sure it won't happen again. Thank you for holding us accountable." The apology, paired with Emily's redemption story, turned a moment of collective heartbreak into a lesson on resilience and justice. Ultimately, the controversy, the heartbreak, and the eventual triumph cemented Emily's episode as one of the most memorable in the history of the chase. Social media still occasionally references her as the quiz queen who beat the system, and fans fondly recall the roller coaster of emotions the show delivered. What started as a simple game of questions and answers became a story of human perseverance, the pursuit of fairness, and the unexpected ways the world tests us. And for Emily, every time she thinks back to that fateful day in the studio, she doesn't remember the heartbreak first. She remembers the moment she crossed that finish line, the roar of the audience, and the undeniable truth. Sometimes the chase isn't just about winning. It's about proving that integrity and patience can overcome even the cruelest twists of fate.